The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast without the breaks and commercials. Now, here's host Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome everybody. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable, and we're here today with a very interesting fellow who has a business, a venue, something that maybe you haven't heard of and you should hear of. And his name is Jim Shelly, and he owns a business in Lima, New York, which is not that far from Rochester. It's called Fanatics Pub, right?
Yep.
And it's so much more than I don't want to say merely a pub, but I went there a week or two ago and to his venue, and I experienced something that was truly extraordinary, and we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But welcome to the show, Jim.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having me on, Don.
Well, before we get into exactly the uniqueness of your establishment, let's talk a little bit about you. A Rochester guy, not a Rochester guy?
Well, I was born in Batavia, and we moved to Pittsford shortly after I was born.
Okay.
My father was an administrator at Pittsford schools, and so we grew up in Pittsford, and then we moved to Fairport for there till my last years of high school, and we moved out to Honey Falls. And I graduated from Honey Falls, Lima.
Yeah, good school. So you are a passing through Rochester guy.
Yeah. Never actually lived
here, but
in the city.
Yeah. I think you identify as a Rochester guy in some ways, and certainly Honey Falls, where the studio is right here, is a beautiful place to live. So let me ask you the standard question I ask everybody: at 10 years old, what did you want to do?
Well, I played a lot of sports, so I wanted to be some kind of a professional athlete, and I did end up being a professional bowler.
Oh, really?
Which was not the most glamorous sport to be a professional in.
Well, anything you can do that, like I said, so few people can do, and you can make a living out of it. And you make a whole living out of that, being a professional bowler, or was it like a part-time thing?
I couldn't make a living out of them. You have to be just so much better than I was. I was good enough to get at that level, but not. I was good around here, but not on the big scheme of things.
So, what sport did you play when you were in high school?
I played baseball, soccer.
Wow,
a lot of golf, bowling.
Yeah,
tennis.
Well, good. Now, where'd you go to school?
Fairport, up until my 10th grade school. Then I graduated from Honey Falls, Lima.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, what was your first real job? I mean, you support yourself and had enough money to buy food and live.
Well, I was working for Rochester Instrument Systems up there. I got out of college as an electrical technician, but it really wasn't I didn't be working in a factory. Just it was hard on me. I'm more like to be around people and more interaction. So then I moved into the insurance business, and then eventually I bought a pizzeria and started out in the pizza business, which I did for about 25 years.
Wow, where was that?
First one was in Masson, and I had a bunch of them. Lyons, Geneva, Honey Falls.
And what was the name of them?
They were Shell's Pizzerias.
Oh, wow.
And we did pretty well. Some didn't do so well. It's hard to spread yourself that thin and be good at all the locations and manage all the people.
It has to be a very competitive business. I think Avon. Avon has 27 of them.
It's amazing. I can't. Yeah, it's definitely is.
Yeah, it really is. So let's talk about your business, and the name of the business is. Well, go ahead and explain to people the actual full name of the business.
Well, when I first bought the place, it was called the Pastoria Pub. I was doing pizza, pasta. I wanted to do something a little more. With the bar and a full service restaurant, but I was kind of naive about how that business works compared to being in the pizza business, and it was a real struggle in a small town to get that going. And then we switched it over, made the menu a little more simpler, and we called Fanatics Pub. We're a fan of sports, fan of music, fan of food, and we had everything there for you. And then business became more manageable. I didn't need quite as many employees and highly skilled cooks.
Yeah, and COVID had to be a problem for you. I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah, it was. It was for everybody.
Yep. So, but that's really not why you're on the show today. You're not on the show today because you have a great pub with with pizza and drinks or whatever. Yeah. Everybody listens to the show. You need to know that I don't take free tickets from people, and I don't recommend things that people are going to compensate me for. All I want you to do is know about things in Rochester that really are kind of cool that maybe you know about, like the Jazz Festival, but maybe you don't know about, like Fanatics. And the whole idea of having Jim on the show is that I went and I saw a blues performance at Fanatics. It was a Friday or two ago, and I was absolutely blown away by what you have there. When did you come up with this idea? And now you have a stage, and I've been told you expanded the building to accommodate the people. Tell me all about this great musical venue that you have.
Well, it's I kind of fell into it. I'm very lucky. I got to the point where I didn't know if I could survive as a restaurant. And I happened to go to an Amherst game, and there was a big crowd, and we had to walk past the Dinosaur Barbecue on the way back to our car. So one guy suggested, let's go have a drink. And this blues guy, Johnny Rawls from Southern Mississippi, was playing, and it was just absolutely, I couldn't believe it. I mean, that wasn't my genre at that time. I was listening to progressive rock and a lot of alternative music, and I just fell in love with it. And I talked to one of the girls that was selling his merchandise and got a card, and I called him up, and it was a tough conversation. I talk a little fast for some people, and he's from Southern Mississippi. So after about 15 minutes, we worked that out. He would come next time in Rochester. He would play my place the night before the Dinosaur, and it packed the place.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, we did it again, and then I started getting calls from different artist agencies from around the country. And I didn't really know who the people were they were asking me to have there, but I would ask my customers who were big followers of the blues, and they would tell me, "Oh, if you get so and so, get them." These guys, the customers I have, they go on these blues cruises and they go to the big festivals, and so they recognized all these people. And I would actually, me and Johnny Rawls had become best friends. I talked to him every week, and he helped me out, learning who I should book and how much I should pay him. And it kind of just grew from there, where it was, one show a month, then 2 shows a month. And now we're up to maybe 10 or 12 shows a month. And they're all national. I mean, people I never imagined would ever play my place are coming there. Kim Wilson and the Fabulous Thunderbirds have been there 3 times. I don't know how many times I paid to see them over the last 40 years. So I know Jeff Springett, and the Red Creek was my favorite place to hang out when I was younger.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Keep on going.
Yeah, and so... finally, I'm 62 now, and I'm doing something that I absolutely love. I mean, I get up in the morning and I get excited on the days we have a new artist coming in, or a lot of them we become real good friends with.
What is so delightful to me is that you're one of those people who ended up someplace really, really well that you never had as a destination. I mean, that's why I asked the question about 10 years old. At 10 years old, you didn't say, I wanted to own this really cool, if you want to call it pub, nightclub, music place in Lima, where these national acts would come and play in front of 100 people in a very intimate way, and you have fun and you enjoy yourself and you're doing what you're supposed to do. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, I never... I always loved music. Like I said, I used to go to Red Creek twice a week. They had the more of unique music that I really enjoyed that place, and I kind of feel like I've kind of morphed into something similar for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, we're about ready to head to a break, and we're going to talk more to Jim right after the break.
I see a yellow moon rise up out in the Hampton sky.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable. We're talking to Jim Shelly today, who owns Fanatics, a pub in Lima, New York, just a short trip down Route 390 to exit 10. The whole idea of having Jim on the show is that this is more than a pub that he owns. It's a music venue. It is a place for, traveling artists to apply their trade in mainly blues music, and he started out. It was it was basically just an Irish pub, right? I mean, it was an Italian place first, and it was a pub, and then he decided to expand into the music business. I mean, that's how it happened, right?
Yeah. Once I got into the music, it was a total transformation for my attitude about owning the place. We had one thing we were lucky that way it's set up now is when you come into the pub, you can go into the bar area, which is separate from the dining area, which we turned into the music venue. Mm-hmm. We put a stage back there, a sound system, and he had seating for about 60 people. Mm-hmm. So it was a very intimate show. And you didn't have the interference from the people from the bar, because my regular customers can still come in and enjoy go get some wings and pizza, burger, and sit at the bar, but their conversations don't interfere with the music, which it's pretty much a listening room. People sit there and they enjoy the intimacy of having the artists playing right there, and they're full bands.
Yeah,
it's
and you have a very nice stage, and you're right.
Yeah.
And the ceiling is ceiling's low. It really lends itself well to the acoustics, and these fellas that you got and gals that come in and play for you. Now, when you first started this out, like you said, you had about 60. It could fit about 60, but that's over 100 now, right?
Yeah, we put an addition on a little less than a year ago that added 40 more seats, so we got about 100 in there now. It actually made the room sound better, which already did sound good. It did sound good because it's an old building and it's got soft materials in there. So it's we don't have to put a lot of mics on all the equipment. The musicians, amps and drums, they fill the room without me having to mic it all up.
Yeah, and the thing is that when we were there, Nina and I went there. It was full. People were happy. They're kind of bebopping, and you're still able to get food while you're watching the show too.
Yeah, we have our menu. We have waitresses that bring the food. A lot of people come a little before the show. The doors open an hour before. You can have dinner. You can eat during the show. We have service for drinks and anything else you want brought to the table. But everybody gets a seat. It's not a standing room,
right?
So it's good for listening, because you can be comfortable there. You don't have to stand and for 3 hours.
So when we were there, we saw a young fella. I had no idea about this fella, but his name was Quinn Sullivan, right?
Yes.
And Quinn, if you look this up online, Quinn Sullivan was on Ellen when he was 6 years old, and the performance he gave was really fantastic. And then if you look online too, there's a national story that CBS News did with him, with a blues musician, Buddy Guy. And a national story about him and Buddy Guy getting together. And he was 14 years old at the time. And he's a phenomenal guitarist. And you got a chance to see this guy who's got some national presence. It's intimate. He did a magnificent job. And the thing is that it is so intimate that you're right there. You're right there with the musicians. So this compels a question. When did you actually do the expansion? You said was just last year?
Yeah, it was July. It was finished up.
And how long were you doing this before that, the music?
We've been doing about 9 years now.
Really?
So like I said, we started out originally with just one show a month, and then we went to 2 shows a month, and then we started doing some solo and local guys in the pub area on Fridays and Saturdays. Some free music keep the people around the bar afterwards after dinner, hang around a little longer.
Now, do you have performances every week, every Saturday, every Sunday, or here or there? Or how many performances a year do you think you have?
We probably do between 100 and 150 a year. Yeah. They're not always weekends. The reason I'm able to get these artists is they're traveling between maybe say Cleveland and New York City, and they want to play on a Monday and Tuesday, and that's not too many places offer that. So that's how I started. I pay them less money. They don't charge as much as they do at the bigger venues on the weekends. And then they get their rooms paid for and they're fed. And actually, right before the COVID, we transformed the whole upstairs into a really beautiful apartment for the bands. They all got their own rooms with TVs, bath and shower. So sometimes the bands will come in a day early. If they're playing on Tuesday and not on Monday, they'll come and hang out for 2 days with us.
You know,
It's a good chance to get to know them. And I've never had a bad experience with any of the artists. They all are very appreciative. The blues community is a really great community between the people that come to the shows and the interaction with the musicians who always stay around afterwards and sign CDs and, just have a conversation with.
Now, you're a pretty smart marketing guy. I mean, think about this. So they have a choice of making nothing because they have no venue and they're booked someplace else, or making something and playing at your place, and then you provide them with accommodations on top of that?
Yeah, so instead of having a day off and spending money, they're actually
right. They're netting their gross.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have any skin going into this monetarily, where they have to have a hotel room at the Holiday Inn or something like that, and so it all goes to the bottom line for them. And I'm sure they enjoy the atmosphere too, because not every club has got to be that intimate.
Yeah, no, they really do enjoy themselves there, and especially when it was only 60 seats. Now with the extra 40 seats, I can pay a little more, and I am getting some weekend shows. And someone like Quinn Sullivan, who's very popular, and he hasn't played in the Rochester area since he played the Lilac Festival before the pandemic. I mean, he can stay there for 2 nights and have a full house for 2 nights. So the bigger names, Shamika Copeland will be coming in. She'll be playing 2 nights. The Fabulous Thunderbirds play 3 nights when they come. So it's, they're not traveling there. They're staying in the same place for a couple of days, and it's kind of a treat for them, I guess.
Yeah, and when I was there, I see it. There's a poster on the wall, and it's, Emmy winner so-and-so. I don't know who it was, but Emmy,
Grammy winner.
Grammy winner. Yeah. I always make that mistake. Yeah, Grammy winner so-and-so, and you've had a number of those. Yeah.
Kim Wilson's been nominated for 7 Grammys. Shamika's been nominated for 5. Paul Nelson, who was there last Saturday, the day after you were there, has won a Grammy. He was working with Johnny Winter. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's exciting. The Blues Music Awards are like the CMTs for the blues, and down in Memphis every year, and all the guys that come there, they've all been nominated or won, Blues Music Awards. So they're at the top of their field.
So other than musical talent wise, let's talk about personality wise and engagement wise. Who are some of your favorite people that you have played there?
Well, John Nemeth and the Blue Dreamers. I mean, that band's become very close with all of our staff and customers. They were one of the first ones to come 8 years ago. Johnny Rawls, legendary. He loves it there. He feels very comfortable. Hangs out with all night long. Kim Wilson is a real super nice guy. I was a little intimidated when he was first coming there because I had paid to see him in large places over the years, and he was just a super gentleman.
So that compels a question. So performers are begetting other guests. They're giving recommendations. That's how you get people, or do you go through like talent agencies or stuff like that to get people to play at your place?
Yeah, pretty much. They're all represented with talent agencies, and there's several of them around the country, and you constantly get emails and calls to see if I would be willing to. They're coming. Let me know they're coming through, and if it was something that would work for us, and it's a challenge sometimes.
So pretty much they're reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Every once in a while, like Quinn Sullivan was someone who I've been chasing down since I saw him at the Lilac Festival, and thought we were going to get him there then COVID hit, and then finally after all these years, he was really awesome to have him there.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I was there to see him, and we're about ready to head into the news break, and we're going to be right back. After the news break. Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable. We're talking to Jim Shelly, who owns Fanatics, and it's Fanatics more than a pub, I would say, in Lima on the corner of 15A and 5 and 20. A short drive from downtown Rochester, or just about anybody because of 390. And the Fanatics pub is famous for their musical venue, which I had the great fortune of experiencing a week or two ago, and was absolutely bowled over by it. But we were talking during the break about these artists liking to come to your establishment because they they have a very good experience themselves, and one musician will recommend another and another and another, and it's sort of a cultural thing. They like that you treat people the way that you do. I know that you do that when you have customers. Your customers are treated the same way, and it seems like a very friendly place to come.
Yeah, we very lucky. I have a lot of the people that work for me have been there for many years, and they have good interactions with the artists and the customers, and it's almost like a little family. And the artists, they tell me that that we're one of the favorite places to play because we take such good care of them. We try to go over the top to take care of them because we appreciate the fact that they actually come to play my little place, which I would never have believed. Especially, like I said, I've gone to other places to pay to see these guys in bigger places for years, and now they're coming by my place, and they're there's really no ego. They're always they're really the nicest people. They constantly thank you for having you and all that, and of course I'm thinking I should be thanking you, and I am thanking you for coming to my place. So yeah, it's a great experience, and it's good to hear from when they talk first time in. They say, oh, so and so has been telling me I have to get here, and then I'm finally here, and I'm really glad to be playing tonight. So
the great thing about your story is that I use a marketing term that I invented myself. You morphed. You have a certain product line, and you decide to take a little bit of a direction, which is a risk for you, because once you start doing something like that, I don't know if you're all in or you're half in, whatever, but there's got to be a little bit of risk. You have some sleepless nights when you turn this place into a music venue establishment.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, I'm enjoying it so much, and I've always been such a big fan of music. I mean, I've got piles of concert tickets that I've gone to over the years, and I get actually certain days when I've got someone coming in that I've been hoping to play there for a long time. I can't sleep those nights. I can't wait to get the day started.
You seem to be like a music historian. I mean, you seem to have this knowledge of you have been doing a pretty good job educating me about the blues and the blues singers that you have and whatever. Are you interested in the blues when you were younger, or is it just something you took up that was part of the deal when you did this?
No, it's just like I tell people, the blues has got people don't realize that they're listening to blues when they're listening to the Rolling Stones or Chris Stapleton. I mean, the blues has a kind of a negative notation, I think, among a certain crowd of people, but they don't realize the blues started all the American music and the British music. It all started here in the South, and so people don't realize they're listening to blues, and that's why when they come to see it, they're like, "Wow, this is the blues." I mean, and I was the same way because I was listening to progressive rock and alternative rock, and not realizing that a lot of that stuff was all intertwined.
Right. One of the things that I really believe in is kind of tasting something. You don't know you like something until you taste it, you try it. I mean, analogous maybe in a silly way to like Thai food. You like Thai food. You don't want to have Thai food, like 7 days a week. Well, maybe if you're Thai you do, but it's one of those things that you have a taste for. Is it an acquired taste, or is it a taste that you immediately liked? And you have it here or there once in a while. And even if you do like rock and roll and different types of music or classical music, I mean, the blues should be in your menu there sometime, and try it out. And that's what I encourage people to do. We were talking to Bill Ferguson, who's the director for Garth Fagan Dance. And one of the big things is that, to go to a dance performance, well, that's something that you probably have never done before, but musical performance is a different thing. You've probably been to a concert, whether it was rock and roll or whatever it was. You've been someplace. Try blues, because the blues is really kind of cool. You probably will like blues. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like I said, when I first experienced that Johnny Rawls show, I just couldn't believe it, and I fell in love with it. And now, and the blues, it's not the same. Every show is so different and unique. These are very professional people, and they all have developed their own kind of a niche for their show. And there's different instruments. Some are rock and guitar, some of the harmonica players, some of the bands bring the horns and the keys. It's every show has got its own adventure to it.
You know what I'd like you to do for me, and I haven't done this before. Why don't you put a list of people that you've had and how where their samples are, YouTube's or whatever. Give me some. I'll put them on my webpage, and let's put something on the webpage about Fanatics. And these are the groups that we've had, and listen to a little bit of this, and you can get a little sample online at nononsenseroundtable.com. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, it's ironically, when I first started, I didn't even I sampled a little bit trying the music business, and people don't realize it, but I had Marshall Crenshaw there. You probably know him from if you still hear the music on the radio at the grocery store, and Steve Forber's been there several times. So every once in a while we'll do something at Snap Blues, but 90% of it right now is in the blues genre. Yeah.
Well, and I think people are not in a bad way, but people know music, but they don't know who did the music. I mean, that's always been my contention with the Rascals. I talk to Gene Cornish about this all the time. That people know it's the music when you hear "It's a Beautiful Morning" or "Groovin' or whatever, but they don't know it's the Rascals. Yeah. And once you realize that, you're like, wow, okay. And the same thing with Sergio Mendes. I mean, Sergio Mendes, you listen to stuff from Brazil '66, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that was Sergio Mendes. And it's the same thing with you. With the blues, is that there's a lot of that music that's woven into American culture, and once you hear it, okay, I understand what that is, or I understand what that guitar riff came from, and it's just a fact.
Yeah, it's.
But you also have people
really
that are coming up the ladder in the music business, I would think, as well as people that are established that are, pretty much set in their ways, and they're not going to have a national presence, but nonetheless they're great musicians. I mean, you have to have some people that are just starting out, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young people that actually that play the blues, and a lot of them, are very respectful of the ones that came before them, and they'll play their music, cover them a little bit, and they talk about it. So they're all they're very respectful young kids that come in there. Yeah, they're not kids, but they're younger than us.
yeah. So it's like the proverbial box of chocolates. You don't know what you're getting. I mean, I'm amazed sometimes when I talk to somebody like Bruce Pilato, and he says, "Well, the Who, were open for whatever, the Who opened for the Monkees or something." Yeah. And it's like, oh man, I mean, if you were there at that time, you just don't know the trajectory of the musicians, and that's the other good part of it too. You're seeing something maybe that is going to be something big later on. So we are about ready to head into another break, and we're going to head into what I call the retail section of the show. Well, welcome back. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable, and we're talking to Jim Shelly, who owns Fanatics Pub, and I would say pub and music venue, stage. Such more than pub. We got to get a like an addition to that name for you, and his specialty is that he has this wonderful music venue, very intimate place in Lima, New York. And if anybody wants to know where Lima, New York is, it's like really close to everything. You go down, if you're traveling from Rochester, you go down to exit 10 on Route 390, you make a left, which is going east. You go 2 traffic lights, and at the second traffic light, you look to the left, and it's right there at the crossroads. We're going to be talking about crossroads in a second. It's right there at the crossroads of 15A and 5 and 20, and a delightful venue in an intimate setting to listen to blues music, have some food and some drink. And let's talk about the experience all told, because you have this restaurant during the week when you're not having music too, right?
Yeah, we serve a full menu. It's a simple menu. Some of our specials might be a little more upscale, but the menu itself has got burgers, wings, pizza, salads. We also had the bar there. We have in the bar area, which is separate from the music venue. We have plenty of TVs there. Mm-hmm. We do trivia every Wednesday, which is really popular.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is. I've been to one of those before. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've built it up where we get 70, 80 people in there sometimes, and a lot of them come every week. It's like a bowling league. They all come in and they razz each other and stuff, and So we do that, and that's a really fun night.
Yeah, that's another neat thing too. Is that if you haven't been to one of these trivia nights, you get together with your significant other or a group of people, and it's a competition between the tables, and then there's some type of gift that's given out at the end for the winners. And it's all these obscure stuff, and I'm really terrible at it. Yeah. But I love it. But I'm really terrible.
It's fun to challenge yourself and see what you don't know.
Oh yeah, and this is what I love about you is that you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that's the way you have a sustainable business and you make money. Very, very few people have broccoli farms, and just you have to have more than just the broccoli, and you have the food and you have the blues and trivia night, which I wasn't aware of. So in this whole venture of turning your establishment into a music destination, what was the toughest thing that you had to deal with, you think?
Well, first of all, I had to educate myself a little bit, how to run a music venue. I mean, we bought some first, when we first started, the guys would bring their own sound system in. Well, those were mostly the ones that lived close enough to bring their own sound. So then I went out and invested in a sound system, and I had to pay guys to run the sound system as I eventually learned how to use it myself. I hate not knowing everything that goes on there, because I don't want to be, if a guy gets in a car accident on the way to the show and can't do the sound, then we're there. And then luckily most of the musicians are all probably know more than I do anyways, but it's nice that I can at least act like I know what I'm doing. And then it was just, getting people to come to the shows, getting the word out. It's, social media is a great thing. It doesn't cost you a lot to do it. But just establishing it and getting, enough people to come to say we can do more than one show a week and 2 shows a week.
Yeah. You're having a lot of fun, aren't you?
Oh, I love it. Like I said,
Look at the light in your eyes.
Yeah. 62 and I'm finally doing something I love.
I got to tell you something. I know the feeling.
Yeah. You're doing the same thing here, right?
I'm just doing the same thing here.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but it's like you had no idea when you were younger that you wanted to do this, but then you're in a spot now. It's got to be a gift, right? I mean, you're in a spot now where you have joy in what you're doing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, we're going to be putting another addition on. We got approved last week. It's going to be an outdoor area. So on the weekends, which Lima is not a very popular spot, in the weekends when you have all the Finger Lakes and you have the festivals and graduations. So people want to be outside. So we're going to have a nice little outside area with some local musicians doing, acoustic acts.
Well, the other thing might sound like a small thing, but it's really not. But you have unlimited parking there.
Oh, that's what's so nice about it. You can come there and you don't have to spend any time to find a parking spot because we have a monstrous parking. Oh
yeah, well there was a grocery store there at one time, and I think there's still a business there, but there's no cars there when you're doing your music. I mean, there's all the parking in the world. You don't have to worry about parking downtown in a garage or walking to the venue, whatever. Has a lot of advantages out of having to go to a metropolitan area, and it's easy to get to.
Yeah, and it's ironic. I've had people bring their campers. If they say they want to come to 2 or 3 shows on the weekend, they'll come and hang out with us for the weekend.
So what's the most fun that you have? It sounds like you're really having a heck of a time. But what's the most fun? It's just greeting the people, getting to be known by the people. You must be a little bit famous with with your regulars and stuff like that. I mean, what is it?
Yeah, well, they it's fun to see their enjoyment, and when they leave the show at night, they're thanking you for having it. And having a place where they can go and feel safe, and like say there's plenty of parking, and it's we don't have a bouncer there. I mean, the people are all a lot of people get, once they start coming to shows, they're welcomed by all the other people.
Yeah, you don't have a bouncer because you don't need to.
No, everybody's.
It's not that type of crowd. And the thing when we were there, you're sitting among these tables, and everyone's kind of bebopping to the music, and all ages, and it's just great. Yeah. I have to tell everybody, whoever's listening to this show, you got to try this once, and once you go there, you're going to be hooked, because I tell you, it's different. It is unknown to a lot of people. It has a great atmosphere and good talent, and obviously an owner that gives a hoot about if you're happy or not.
Yeah. I love to have have people come there and have a great experience. And there's not uncommon from people that travel from Toronto and Cleveland and Buffalo and Syracuse to come to see the shows, because you get a chance to. I mean, they see these guys at theaters and at the big festivals, but they don't get a chance to really mingle with them. But here they're, and a lot of them become friends with these guys, the musicians. And the musicians recognize that when they come in, and if they're not there, where's so-and-so?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I say, it's so convenient. It's affordable. It's there, and I'd like more people to know about it, because I like to be a cheerleader for Rochester. There's so many great things that people need to know about and do, and things that are available to you. And your establishment is great, and no matter what the weather is, it could be snowing or sunny or whatever. It's not that far away, and it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's really a place that I hope to see more people come out to. And
well, let's get into the website.
Yeah, the website is fanaticspub.com. You can get a full listing of all the music that's there. You can buy tickets on there now. I used to do all the ticketing myself, but it got to be hard to keep track of everything. I'd be out having a drink and someone would call me and I'm writing their ticket request on a bar napkin, and if I went on vacation, I have to come back and follow up. So now you get tickets very easily, and you pick out your own, whatever seats you like. If you want to be close to stage or farther back, you have the option of picking your own seats.
Yeah, I noticed that on the website. You can pick your own seat, which is really great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic. And
people are still, if you don't feel comfortable, you're always welcome to call me. My personal cell phone's on the website.
Okay.
And you can call me with questions about anything.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, we're about ready to sign off, but I want to say that I'm glad you came in to record today. You have a great business there. It's only 3 miles away from the studio. One of the great disappointments I've had in my life is that I haven't experienced your place sooner. And I would recommend everybody go to fanatics.com. Well, Jim, thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it. You got a great business down there. I hope everybody who listens goes and at least visits you once. So,
yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I mean, you do a great service for the Rochester area too. I appreciate that.
Until next week, it's the No Nonsense Roundtable right here on News Radio Wham 1180.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every weekend from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.